Five-star Calvin Russell, the number 3 receiver in the nation, has made his decision, and he will be playing football for the Syracuse Orange. Unfortunately, Michigan will miss out on the 5-star receiver, but I do think that they have a really solid receiving class here in this 2026 window, and I think they had a really good group last year as well. And it's something that Jerome has done over the last couple of seasons, and that is overhaul the wide receiver position group on this roster. Something that Jerome has tried to do over the last couple of seasons is make sure that he has bigger body receivers, and that is something that he's gotten over the last couple of years. When you look at the roster last year, Amorion Walker, who barely played, and Peyton O'Leary, who also barely played, were the tallest receivers on this roster, standing in at 6'3", and then Kendrick Bell, Fred Moore, Tyler Morris, and Samaj Morgan were the other 4. 2 of those guys being under 6 foot, Fred Moore at 6'1", and Kendrick Bell at 6'2". So Jerome has made it an emphasis to bring in bigger bodied receivers, and we'll talk about some of the receivers he brought in last season before we get to the guys that he's going to be bringing in this 2026 class. Back in March, Sports Illustrated made this article here as they asked Jerome a couple of questions, and he talked about what he likes about this receiving class from last year, and it kind of stays true to this season as well. He was able to land 6'5" transfer Donovan McCauley, and then he was also able to bring in 6'5" playmaker Jamar Browder, along with 6'3" Jacob Washington, and then you also have Andrew Marsh, who's at 6'1". He's the shortest receiver brought in last season, but he still has the ability to play on the edge and in the slot as well. So I think that the receiving position has become an emphasis for Jerome Moore. We'll talk about what he said. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, Jerome Moore would say, "Yeah, I feel like that group has really obviously grown in size. That was an emphasis for me. I wanted big receivers. And with him and Donovan McCauley, and bringing in Jacob Washington, even Andrew Marsh, he's not a small guy. He's a long limb guy. I feel like we'd bring in really good size in that group to help us be more explosive in the passing game, and that's what I wanted." He would also later say, "And those guys have made plays, and it's been fun to watch. And it's been great for our defense and great for the DBs to go out with guys that are bigger. Because as we know, in the games that matter, you're going to have to play really big dudes that can go up and get the football in the air." So it's been awesome. It's been very encouraging to watch them all. And I think that's something that Jerome has done really, really well in this 2026 class as well, as I wanted to talk about the 3 receivers that he's been able to bring in this year, with the first one being criminally underrated Jaylen Pile. He is a 3-star on 24/7 Sports, the 235th best wide receiver. He's somebody that I want to make a full-length video on here in the future. I've talked about it in previous episodes because I think that he is going to be really, really good. He's 6'1", 187 pounds. He's a Texas receiver. He has been tearing it up throughout the summer as he prepares for his senior season. And I get it. He may not be the fastest guy in the world, but at 6'1", he does have the ability to play in the slot. He's really effective as a route runner, and he can even go up and get the football. If you want production, he brought production last year in his junior season with 63 receptions, 1,300 yards receiving, and 19 touchdowns. This is a son of a former NFL player. He's got it in his genes. I think Jaylen Pile is somebody that could really be an important piece in the upcoming seasons for Michigan. He's also somebody that's been on social media being a huge advocate for Michigan, encouraging to get these guys to come here to Ann Arbor. Jaylen Pile is a Michigan man through and through, and I cannot wait to see him get on the field. The next wide receiver I want to cover is Travis Johnson. He's the 23rd best receiver in high school football. He committed on the 4th of July, and he is a big body guy. 6'3", 185 pounds. Another one of these guys to be extremely excited about, as Michigan was able to beat out North Carolina, Penn State, South Carolina, and Indiana in this battle, as Ron Bellamy and Jerome Moore find another big body receiver to be excited about. I'm going to go over the scouting report here on 24/7 Sports. It's Andrew Evans, who says he reminds us of Grant DuBose of the Green Bay Packers, and he says he's a well-rounded wide receiver with the size, speed, and focus to emerge as a trusted option at the Power 4 level. Height and bounce suggest that he's destined to play on the outside, but is sudden and quick enough to win from an interior alignment with his slick route running. He attacks cushion with good surge off the line and can reach a top gear before changing course with full tilt cuts. He may not be a true power forward at the catch point, but he can play above the shoulder pads with his perfect timing and body control. He'll shed a couple of tackles here and there, and he has surprising agility in tight quarters for someone of his stature. He missed time as a junior due to injury, but still finished the season well over 1,000 receiving yards before turning heads at the OT7 finals summer before senior year. Rather narrow in the shoulders for a pass catcher that's verified at over 6'3", but projects as a potential impact player on Saturdays that will work for his quarterbacks. Mature game could have him in the lineup sooner rather than later. This is a two-sport athlete as well. He had 17 touchdowns as a junior, led his team to a state championship in Virginia. Travis Johnson is somebody to definitely be excited about. You don't bring in Calvin Russell on July 5th, but on July 4th, you brought in a playmaker who I think can be an instant impact for Michigan. I'm excited to see the receivers battle it out for who's going to be out there on the field because there's a lot of competition this year. And I think that's something that Michigan has been lacking over the last couple of seasons is there really hasn't been much competition since guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones and Nico Collins have moved on. Other than that, it's been a stale position group over the last couple of seasons. And speaking of this recruiting class here, I think this is the best wide receiver group that we've seen Michigan bring in since that 2017 class that brought in Tariq Black, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Nico Collins. It also brought in Oliver Martin, but we won't talk about him. We will, however, talk about Zion Robinson, who I think is somebody that's going to be a game changer. This is the number 6 receiver in the nation. We've talked about him in the most previous video. He committed on June 25th. He's 6'3", 180 pounds, out of Texas, another big body receiver. And I think that he brings a little bit more to the table than Calvin Russell does. I think that I'm more excited about Zion Robinson than I would have been had we brought in Calvin Russell. Looking at the scouting report here on 24/7 Sports, this one by Gabe Brooks. He says, he reminds us of Quentin Johnston of the TCU Horned Frogs. He's a tall, outside target pushing 6'3" with excellent multi-sport athletic context in basketball and track and field. More polished pass catchers out there, but very few boast this combination of the above the rim hardwood context, a state championship high jump gold medal, and corresponding high level athleticism and pads. Frame and explosion foster contested catch dominance. He displays sneaky run after catch effectiveness relative to frame and straight line top end gear. He shows adequate acceleration that times require a build up runway, but leads to breakaway long speed. Still developing hands consistently in route technique, but showed encouraging signs during junior season and spring 2025 elite camp evaluation. A particularly high ceiling outside receiver prospect who could become an impact player in college with long-term pro potential. This is the type of player right here that if he develops well, could be dominant. He could be a Nico Collins level player at the NFL level. I'm very excited about this recruiting class that Michigan has brought in. We've talked about the defensive line a lot. Now we've talked about the wide receivers. I think there's still some more to talk about as far as recruiting goes. Like I said, I would love to make a Jaylen Pile video because I think he's way too underrated. I think he's at least a 4-star receiver in my mind. He should be a top 30, top 40 wide receiver. When you're talking about 235th best receiver, there's no way that you can name me 234 better guys than Jaylen Pile. Just look at his film and look at what he's been doing throughout the summer leading up to his senior season. I hope this video was a good one here as I was trying to read off these scouting profiles and maybe I was a little bit robotic there, having a lot of run-on sentences, but I just wanted to talk about this receiving group as we do unfortunately miss out on the 5-star Calvin Russell, but overall, there's nothing to hang your head on because I think we have a really good class in Zion Robinson, Travis Johnson, and Jaylen Pile. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about this receiving group that Michigan's been able to bring in. I'm excited about it. And let me know what you guys thought about this video as well, as I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.